Joe.
I'm Joe's mom.
And we're
Eastside
Eastside Vibes. Today we're going to do an album that came out at the beginning of this year, which I personally really liked, and I thought it was just really cool. And considering that my mom liked the Tizo Touchdown album, I thought we'll give this one a try because it's also like weird, like a weird modern take on like older rock music.
Right, they're calling it psych rock, or at least his album is psych rock.
Yeah, it's like very, very psychedelic and very inspired by bands. Well, at least some of it is inspired by bands like Pink Floyd or maybe like the Velvet Underground. Like psychedelic early 70s bands.
Mm-hmm.
But the album that we're going with is Let's Start Here by Lil Yachty. And before we get into it, I wanted to ask do you even know about Lil Yachty?
No. I've heard his name. My students have said his name, Little Yachty, but I had never listened to him and I didn't know much about him.
Yeah, okay. He's like pretty iconic for like Gen Z, I would say. He came up in like the mid to late or the early to mid 2010s, and he's always been known for like pushing the sound of music.
Okay, he definitely pushes it.
He was originally known for kind of like making that like tropical, I guess, trap sound, like songs like One Night, Minnesota, I Spy. They almost sound like the melodies are being played on like a xylophone or like a steel drum.
Wow, like Jamaica.
Yeah, like that's what he was always known for, and that's like the music I knew him for.
Okay. Before
this, I had no idea something like this. I don't know if many people knew that if something like this was in his repertoire, like that he could do something like this.
So this is way out of his like zone of what he normally does.
It's like not even close.
Okay.
I know my mom actually told me before we came on here, and I kind of figured that this is inspired by Tyler, the Creator, who's an artist who also did that same thing. Yes. He was known for very aggressive, like hardcore rap music, like mean stuff, to be honest.
Okay.
And he totally like switched his sound in like 2019 to like R&B, like not even close to what he was doing. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really, really good. That album, it's called Igor.
Okay.
I think that's 2019.
Okay.
But anyway, this is like similar to that, where it's an artist who was Tyler, the Creator, was also known for like inspiring people and pushing boundaries.
Okay. And
Lil Yachty is the same way, and he just decided to like go completely into left field and try something super new and different.
Right. I read from Variety that Tyler, the Creator, said just go for it, just do it.
And just try.
Yeah, just try it.
And that's like super cool because it inspires, at the very least, even if like you're not like super into the sound, or if there's something about Lil Yachty you don't like, it'll inspire other artists to do the same thing. That's why I really like Lil Uzi Vert. He's also an artist who does that.
Yes.
Even if like they're like, like on the Pink Tape, which we talked about earlier this year, there are songs on there where like, to me, they just like aren't that good. Mm-hmm. But like the fact that he's even willing to do like a cover of Chop Suey or try like these weird metal songs, that's cool.
It is.
Because like hopefully like other artists, like younger people, will be inspired to push that and make it better.
Right. And then someone else will come around and do something else that'll push it, maybe the younger people.
Like you need artists like this to, like big popular artists, to be willing to. The Weeknd is also someone who does it.
Oh, yes, definitely.
And that's like one knock for me on Drake, someone who I love, that he is not willing to do that. He's the opposite. He copies what everyone else is doing.
Exactly.
Whereas Lil Yachty, like even if like it doesn't hit, like he'll try something way different than what he's known for.
And that's apparently what this album is.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yes.
So the first as always, we're going to like cover some of our favorite songs and talk about our overall opinions of it at the end. And the first song that we were going to talk about is one of my mom's picks. It's also the first song on the record.
Yes.
And it's called Black Seminole. I remember when this came, like when this album came out,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, cool, another Lil Yachty. I'll check it out.
Mm-hmm.
His recent mixtapes haven't been like super great to me
That's what I
compared to his
read.
early stuff.
Yeah, I read that.
So I was like, okay, like maybe I'll write about it, maybe I won't. You know, I'll listen to it because I do enjoy them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also seeing online, like, it was like the night it came out, people were like, what is this? This is like not, this is not what I thought this was gonna be. And when I remember when the song came on, I'm like, dude, like, this isn't even hip hop. Like, I don't know, this is crazy. Like, the fact that, like, and this is such a good opener.
It is.
Like,
everybody says it's a great opener.
Like, it's like one of probably my favorite opener for any record this year, just because it's so shocking.
Right.
Like, you would not expect, like, this is like literally like a psychedelic rock song that sounds like it could be on like The Wall or something.
Well, they said that they think that the melodic intro to it is from Pink Floyd's song. What was it? One of These Days.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, you just get that feeling throughout the whole song, and then at one point it's like a rock song. Like guitar comes in, and it's like just a typical rock song, like 80s rock song or rock album. And I like that a lot. I like the sound from this one quite a bit, and I thought it was interesting to. I was wondering what is Black Seminoles. So I looked it up, and Black Seminoles are actually Black people in the United States who, back during the days of slavery, chose to team up with the Seminole Native Americans against white people. And he calls himself Black Seminole at one point in the song, but you don't get the representation of what Black Seminole means. So obviously he has a different meaning for it in some way.
Yeah, I think he's like seeing himself as like a chief for younger people, like pushing boundaries. He's very quirky.
That's a good way of saying it.
Known for, you know, like trying to like inspire people to do things that they may not be comfortable with.
Right.
And like that could be like what he means by he's the Black Seminole.
That makes a lot of sense.
I think the best part of this song, besides the fact that it's just, like, instrumental so shocking, is the female vocals at the end. Is that Diana Gordon, I'm pretty sure?
I think it is, or it could be Fushi.
Okay. I think that's Diana, because that sounds like her voice.
Okay.
But, yeah, no, I think she sounds great on, like, she should make, like, this kind of music, because she sounds great on it.
Yeah.
And the way it contrasts, like, the guttural sound that Lil Yachty has, like, works super well because it's so smooth, and it kind of switches it up and makes it softer.
Right.
The Black Seminole is a really cool way to start this record.
I agree. I agree. I liked it.
The next song is another one of my mom's picks, and to be honest, I actually would have picked this too if you know, it would have been one of my picks, but I picked something else so she could talk about this one. It's Drive Me Crazy. It's a fan favorite.
It is a big fan favorite.
I think a lot of people consider this or one of my favorite songs as like the best two on the record.
Correct. Yes.
But yeah, this is like, it's funny that it's featuring Diana Gordon because it reminds me of like Diana Ross. It has like a 70s, late 70s disco
definitely.
sound.
Yes, it does.
Like, it's great for like a dance floor. I've like heard it at like the bar, and like people like wouldn't I think this is a song where Lil Yachty's vocals are probably like, this is probably one of his best vocal performances.
I agree. On this album, definitely.
Like, to the point where like you don't as much recognize that it's him. You know, it's smoother than some of his other vocals.
Correct.
And Diana Gordon sounds phenomenal on this. Like,
she's great.
Her voice is really pretty, and it fits the disco sound.
Right. And the theme of the song is that it's a guy who loves a girl who loves a guy, and they drive each other crazy. And between the two of them, their voices together are just really make this song. It makes the song really well, and it makes the theme of the song really good too.
Yeah, it's just like a sweet, like, love song, you know.
It's a love song.
And Lil Yachty and Diana Gordon like really like play off of each other on this song super well.
Yes, they do.
And yeah, you know, it's just like it's not like the most sophisticated or I don't know, like riveting, interesting song on the record, but it's just like a high quality disco.
Right. Like Black Seminole is really, you know,
powerful. That one like grabs you.
Right, but then this one, again, they're saying it's one of the most popular songs on the album, and it is. It's just like it's a fun beat, and I don't know, and the story behind it, the theme behind it is fun too.
Our third song is Say Something. This is one of my favorites. This song, I said, like, when I first heard it, it reminded me of, like, Hall & Oates or Rupert Holmes or I guess maybe even, like, Rick Astley.
Oh,
like,
wow.
80, like, I don't know, like, that sort of, like, yachty, like, you know, yachty, like, yacht rock, pop rock music from the 80s.
Okay.
A little, like, funky and a little, like, soulful.
Yes.
And, in my opinion, at least, Lil Yachty's vocals work well for this song, because that like the warm like high pitch of the melody just like works with like his pitch.
Yes.
You know, and like as far as like his music, I would say this is probably closest to it. I mean, he would make more like hip hop and trap, but I could see this melody being like not that far from what he's known for.
Okay.
And maybe that's another reason it hits with me, because I like some of his older music and it reminds me of it. But it's like a different version of it.
Okay.
I guess. But yeah, no, I just think it's like a fun song. And it's very sing-alongable.
Yes.
Which is also very true of the next one, which is also one of my favorites. It's Paint the Sky. Like, this is a song where, like, that, like, chorus, like, I could just, like, see, like, people, like, singing this, like, on a beach or something.
Right.
And it is such, like, an anthemic feeling.
Yeah. What does anthemic mean?
Like, it's, like, an anthem.
Oh, okay.
Like,
good word. Never heard it.
Like, this would be a very cool song to see live.
Yes.
Because everyone would be, like, singing it. He probably wouldn't even be singing. He's, like, holding the mic out. And it has that feeling to it. And towards the end of the song, the beat actually switches. And it gets, like, almost more, like, disco-y again, in a way. Like, the first, like, 2/3 of this track has a sound that's, like, pretty similar to Say Something as far as, like, the 80s, like, yacht rock feeling.
Okay.
Like, Michael Bolton, almost.
Okay.
That kind of, you know, like, pop rock. But, the end of the song has more of, like, a R&B, like, disco feeling again.
Okay.
And it transitions into the next track super well. I think that's why, which is called Should I Be? Which I think that's why, it switches like that.
I thought his transitions were really good. It wasn't like it came and then it stopped. Every song it flowed into one another.
That's one reason I really like this album and I like it like in regards of listening to it like in full. There's only a couple songs on here that I would listen to like just like when I'm, you know, like hanging out or whatever.
Yes.
But I enjoyed re-listening to this all the way through because it flows so well.
It flows really well.
I think maybe besides Utopia, not even besides, I think Utopia is the only album we've listened to together that like flows as well as this, as far as like the way the songs transition.
Yes.
Most of the other stuff we've listened to this year, it's like, including Tizo last week, it's like every song is so different that they do not transition well.
No, it's like they play and then they stop and go to the new song.
There might be like one or two songs that do it.
Right.
It reminds me of that Beyonce album from last year where even if like you're not super into that sound, like you can listen to the whole album.
Right. You're right.
Because
everything goes right into
it literally
the next one.
like the end of a song will change into the beginning of the next song.
Yes.
Which I find very cool.
Yes.
You could play like 5 songs of that album in a row in like a bar or something because it just flows like that.
It does. She did a really good job with that.
This album is the same way though.
Yes.
Where a lot of like songs will change at the end to flow into the next song. And so like the first 2/3 of Paint the Sky, in my opinion, are very good. I like it better than this last part.
Okay.
But the last part's cool in the fact that it flows into the next song very well.
Yes, it does.
The fifth song that we picked, which is another one of my favorites, is The Alchemist. And I think this is like the most modern sounding song on the record.
Mm-hmm.
It has a bit of like a punk feeling a little bit. It's like punk mixed with like hyper pop, which I don't know if you really know hyper pop. It's like super fast, intense, and saturated like beats. It's like pretty popular right now.
Okay.
Like coming up in pop music.
Okay.
It's very energetic. It's very like lively and in your face. It's like meant to be that way.
Okay.
And this is another song where I think Yachty's vocals actually work really well on it because like he has so much energy in the way he sings that it mixes with like this like really eccentric sound well. And so like throughout this song it'll go from like the super intense beat and Yachty singing, and then like the beat will switch and I think Diana Gordon comes in and it gets like a softer and has like an R&B sound and then I'll switch back and it does that like 3 or 4 times. And you know, some people don't like that kind of music. I do because it
makes the song interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It keeps you on your toes. Like
right.
You're like, I don't know what's coming next in this.
Right.
And that's why the song works for me. Because it does that. And I think Lil Yachty's voice actually sounds good for the hyperpop stuff. Like I could see him making more music with super fast beats like that. Because that kind of music, you don't have to like necessarily be able to like understand what you're saying as much, and like the whole point of it is energy. Like it's supposed to like make you want to like mosh or something. That's the whole point. Like that's what it is.
Could have jumped into my students' mosh pit.
And then like it'll like stop. You'll have this R&B sound, and then like it's like rage again. And yeah, that's why I think this song is pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the song.
But the final song we picked is the final song on the record. It's Reach the Sunshine. And I know this one also has Daniel Caesar, who... Yes. I know like a lot of people who... I'm a big R&B fan, obviously, and a lot of people who love R&B love Daniel Caesar.
Okay.
I'm not like as in... I don't know, like he just doesn't hit as much for me.
Okay.
But I do really like this song, and I think his voice is really good, and his voice sounds very nice on this.
It does. It samples Radiohead. It samples the Pyramid song by Radiohead. Oh, so yeah, that's
not a huge Radiohead person, but
I could hear it. I could definitely hear it when the song came along. I like the song because as far as lyrically, it shows a wide range of emotion. And it's challenging, like they're challenging their own self-identity. Like, who am I? You know, what's happening in the social realm that's causing this to occur? And for him, I really think this song relates back to what they think the cover photo is about. Because people say that he said in Variety that the cover photo is actually, in his mind, it's a boardroom of music, probably executives, and they're laughing because they're making all the money and the people who are producing aren't. And so when it was really talking about very true, over the years.
Speaking of, you hear about this new thing with Spotify?
No.
How like they basically like said you have to have a certain amount of like listens to even get paid. So like younger, like up and coming artists, like they can't even get paid off of Spotify until they have like 10,000 streams or something. Like that's so on a song. Like that's so ridiculous.
Right. So they're definitely in that boardroom photo.
Oh, Spotify is terrible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I use Spotify. I'm contributing to it,
I know,
but like
me too.
I think their rate of paying per play is something like 0.0003. Like you're not like you have to have 100 million streams like to be making money off of anything.
This reminds me of what happened to TLC. Oh my goodness, that was terrible.
Well,
they took all the money, gave them 1 cent per album.
This is the reason why Metallica, like Lars Ulrich and Metallica, was so against like iTunes because they knew like this would happen. But anyway, that it's cool that Lil Yachty's like putting a light on that because he is a rich and famous artist.
He is, and I think this song really does it makes you think about it. Yes.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure. I mean, this is distributed through like Universal, but he like produced this on his own.
Yes, he did. Yes,
and
he
paid
did.
for it on his own.
Right.
So
Right. So
it's not like anyone else, but like it's like he's like putting a light on the fact that these record execs, like, one, they do not care about like the sound or the progress of music.
No.
That is very true, because like look at like how many artists now are putting like sped up versions of their songs like as like on Spotify.
Right.
Because that just hits on TikTok.
Right.
Like that's, to me, that's ridiculous, because that's like destroying the song.
I agree.
But yeah, no, I guess I didn't know that that's what the cover photo was. I just kind of reminded me of like Black Hole Sun. Like, you know, that Soundgarden song.
Black Hole Sun.
Like, because of like the distorted like faces.
Oh, it is. It's very distorted.
But like that's because it's like a weird AI thing.
Right.
That
Weird
it's so
AI.
distorted.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think this is a really epic closer. It's a very, it's similar to the Black Seminole, where it's a very huge song.
And the people have said this is the best song to close with too.
Yeah, like we were saying, like the instrumentals are arranged super well, and like the starting and closing songs are like great. Like that song like pulls you in, and like the first song pulls you in like a very like riveting like way. And then this one like sends you off in like a bang.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
It's such a huge feeling. But yeah, that's how those are our favorite songs from Let's Start Here by Lil Yachty. As far as how I feel about this record, I love it. I think it's really cool. Like, even like when I wrote about this at the beginning of the year, I said that I think the worst part about it is some of the vocals. I think some of the vocals aren't that good. And
I agree.
I think it's just because his I hope that he actually does this again.
Okay.
In the future, and figures out like how to like make his like voice work better with this kind of music.
Okay. Like
try it and figure it out, because like there are points where like he's using like his old vocal style and some of his older flows, but it's on these like very retro instrumentals and just kind of sounds a little weird.
Right.
And his like there are I don't mind when you can't like understand what people are saying, but like at some points it does distract from the instrumental. And yeah, that's probably the worst thing about it. But I give a lot of points to the fact that he was even willing to try something like this. Okay. And I just think it's cool, and I don't mind that I don't mind that I don't like some of the vocals. Okay. Because I can just like kind of tune that out and listen to like the sounds of the songs. When I wrote about this, I gave it like an 8.5, and I stick with that, because like there's no like, even like if we compare it to like Travis Scott, Post Malone, Drake, the big artists who have all like other big artists who have come out with stuff this year, no one did anything for me that like actually made me like
stop and because it's so different. You've said, you keep saying it's so different from who he or how he performed.
Well, even like to the point where I think it's like interesting compared to those. Like I don't think that Post Malone's album is interesting. I think that like it sounds pretty good. It's just not that interesting. Travis Scott and Lil Uzi are pretty interesting, but this is like way more so. And also it's produced super well compared to those, in my opinion. Very well. And I also put stock in the fact that Lil Yachty is like had a major hand in all the production on this. Travis Scott did too, but Lil Uzi Vert and Post Malone aren't producing their own music. Okay. So the fact that he's also, he's also like the one that's like making this sound happen. I find that pretty cool. That he came up with something like this. Okay. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. I think it's just like an awesome album. It's still one of my favorites of the year. There's a couple that I think are better, one of which I want to try to get you to listen to. I don't know. You've said you don't like this artist, but we'll see.
So for me, the fact that it was difficult to understand him really made me not like listening to the album a lot. I with Travis Scott and Post Malone, particularly I'll talk about Travis Scott or even Little Uzi Vert, I could understand what they were saying. And because I'm a lyrical kind of person, I want to be able to understand what the song is about. That's really why I picked the 3 songs I did, because I thought lyrically I could understand everything that he was saying. So from that regard, I would give it a 5, but instrumentally, I would give it a 7 or a 7.5 because musically it is unbelievable.
Yeah, I just musically, like you said, it's just awesome. It's just different. But yeah, with that being said, that's how we feel about Lil Yachty's Let's Start Here. If you haven't, I mean, I would guess a lot of people would have heard this, but if you haven't, check it out, because it's just not what you would expect at the very least.
Right, especially if you're somebody who knows and has listened to Lil Yachty.
I do think that's part of the reason you don't like this as much, because you don't know Lil Yachty.
Correct.
It's like if you knew Lil Yachty, like if Eminem did this, you'd probably think this is super cool. Because it's like it's someone who you know and you're like, holy crap, like they're doing something way different.
Right.
And that's how Lil Yachty is for me. Like, I know what he used to do.
Right. Well, when Eminem did do that way different album, too.
Well, that one sucks.
Yeah, no, but I didn't even like it, because he tried and it didn't work. But apparently it sounds like this one is working.
Yeah. Well, at the very least, like you said, you like the instrumentals. Like, that's the thing. On the Eminem one, those instrumentals aren't good, and that's why it doesn't work.
Good. Yep. And
for this, like, the instrumentals are good.
Yes.
But, yeah, like I said, that's how we feel about Let's Start Here by Lil Yachty. I'm Joe.
I'm Joe's mom.
We're Eastside Vibes. And thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye.